Hello, you're listening to the 91st ever episode of Chismes and Menudo. He is
Ricardo, and she is
Adriana, and we are
sitting here with the lovely and talented Mr. Kerry. Last name is Day.
Kerry Day.
So sorry.
I am the good day that people ask you about all the time.
Mr. Kerry Day is a comedian in the local DFW area. Do you have you ever done comedy anywhere else? Have you gone to Austin or?
The only place that I've done it is Shreveport, other than Dallas.
Hey, Kerry, if you can just speak directly into the microphone. Yeah.
I have given myself. You might notice that I'm a little older than a lot of the comedians.
No.
And one of the things that science says, I haven't felt it, but one of the things that science says is that my reactions slow down with my age. And so I put like a 25-mile limit on my driving.
Yeah.
I don't go outside of that except for Arlington Improv. I love Arlington Improv.
Oh yeah, improv.
The
like,
improv.
It's not.
It's a club. It's not.
Oh, okay,
it's not talking about improv comedy. It's a club.
Yeah, the club over there. Oh, like a Addison Improv.
Yeah, like the Addison Improv.
Okay.
I
It's like the
love
chain,
Arlington
yeah.
Improv.
What?
I've never made it out there.
Yeah.
Is it fun?
It is so good.
Yeah. I need to get out
And
there.
it's like I was talking about a little bit before we started. Comedy is about the audience. You go to where the good audiences are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Arlington Improv has, I shouldn't, I feel like I'm plugging them and I don't mean to.
No,
but,
you're fine.
But they
perfectly
have
fine.
such good audiences.
Yeah.
I've only gone there once when the audience has been kind of quiet.
Yeah. But I think like before you started, you had said that you did like a crowd of just like 5 people. The quantity of the audience also plays a big part. Because if there's have you ever gone to an open mic where it's like the end of the night and it's just the 2 comics that are waiting to go on?
I've been in comedy. I've only been in comedy for about 4 years, but when I started, I was doing a lot of dues paying.
Yeah.
And dues paying means that when you go to open mics, you're the last ones on there. And I've done a couple where it has been a couple of drunks that are asleep at their table. And
Yeah.
That's my goal in life.
to
be a drunk at a
To
table.
be a drunk asleep at a table.
Well, I decided, about 30 years ago, I was at a bar with some friends and we were drinking and they were having, you know how some bars have blackboard specials?
Yeah.
And they had a blackboard special and they were body piercings. And so
Wait,
I
what?
got my nipple pierced on a pool table
At a bar.
at a bar.
You had to,
It was a
and
leather bar.
You had an open needle enter
Yeah.
your body.
And
At a bar? Well, I guess there's a lot of alcohol there.
Well, I mean, he
That's
was
part of the
sterile.
problem.
He used,
That's part of the problem.
He did put alcohol on the nipple before he stuck the needle through it.
He sucked the shot off your nipple.
No, he did not. But,
let me think.
But it made me think that maybe alcohol was not the best thing for me to make good decisions. Because I spent the next 2 days trying to dig that sucker out of my mangled
Did you
nipple.
really? Why?
Because I'm
hurt?
very visual. I see things the way that I think are going to happen. Well, when I had that nipple pierced, apparently I had somebody else's chest in mind.
Oh.
Because in the morning when I saw what it looked like, I'm very white and I'm very hairless. And I was going to use it as like an attachment for swim parties and stuff to hang my sunglasses off of. I thought that would be so cool and masculine. It wasn't.
God,
In
I
the
could,
bright
like
light
it.
of day the next morning, I got 2 pairs of pliers, and for 2 days I was trying. Do you know how hard it is to bend that stainless steel? It's awful.
Why didn't you just unscrew it?
wait, was it curved?
Because
Could you unscrew
when
it?
you unscrew it, you have a gap between the 2 needles. You have a gap between the 2 balls. But my nipple hadn't healed yet, so my nipple was fatter than that.
Ooh.
So, no, and it healed up just fine.
Whose idea was it
Me.
for you to get on the bar?
Me.
Nobody had to convince you.
Oh, no. In fact, I have a husband of almost 47 years, and he was not happy about my making the decision.
Oh, I would not have been either. Are you joking?
You know, he
Did he not help you like the next day and take it out? Like, no, this is your.
I wouldn't have either.
Nope.
That's hilarious.
In fact, it was funny because I thought, you know, I'm laying on the pool table waiting for the needle to go in, and I felt what I thought was my husband grabbing my hand to hold my hand. I thought it was so sweet, but it was this big old fat hairy guy
Is your
without a
husband
shirt
hairy?
on. That
Is
was
your husband hairy?
Yes,
Oh,
but he's got good clean hair. This was kind of like disgusting hair, and I thought that he had changed his mind and come over to support me, but no.
That's hilarious.
I'm lucky he gave me a ride home.
Oh, that is.
How long were y'all together at that point when you got it?
30 years ago, so it would have been about 20
Like 10?
years.
20 years? Oh, damn.
Yeah, I find that when I hear that coming out of my mouth, it's hard for me to believe that we've been together almost 50 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
Wow.
I actually met him. I went into things were different when I grew up. And the worst thing possible that could happen to a man, not so much a woman, but a man, was to be attracted to Old Spice. And so I went
That's one way of putting it.
So I went into the military, and it was a big plan. I mean, I had a grand plan. I went into the military because what you heard, and I don't know where I heard it. It's been interesting. I've been trying to figure that out lately. But what you heard, the only thing that you could do if you wanted a career, if you wanted a relatively normal life, is you got married to a woman. I mean, the Catholic Church said, get married to a woman, have
Catholic?
children. I grew up Catholic. I don't consider myself that now. But, and so that was my grand plan. I was going to go into the military in this testosterone-fueled environment, and I was going to meet Miss Right, get married, and live mediocre-like for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
My first day on active duty, it was in San Antonio. I spent all day processing, and the guy that processed me, he said, I want to introduce you to this guy so that you know another lieutenant. I had gotten a commission. And this guy came in, and I was just bowled over. I've never felt like that. And what I realized days later was that I'd fallen in love. And it took him a little longer, but I fell in love. And I mean, the next 3 years were miserable.
Oh, no.
Because of that, because I was still dating and performing terribly for women. I'm still apologizing for that. I mean, the first time, what I credit with losing my virginity, I actually think that I got a little wrinkle. You know, like a crease. Yeah. Because it wasn't very deep.
Oh, no.
But somebody had said, it'll be wet. Well, it was Nebraska in July, and it had just rained. We were wet all over. So it was not very successful. Ooh.
Okay, wait. Let's go back. Let's go back. Okay.
Have I given you material to work with?
100%. I have a lot of clips. I got a lot of work ahead of me. Let's go back to like your childhood, your home life,
Okay.
parents, siblings.
Did you grow up in Dallas?
No, I grew up in Oklahoma, which I fled as soon as I could.
Good choice. Good choice.
Dallas has become almost, or Texas has become very much like what I remember about Oklahoma. But Oklahoma, I had great parents. I had wonderful parents. My dad was traditional. Things have changed a lot since I was a kid. My dad was typical for that time. He worked all the time. and he was tired when he came home. So I really can't say that I had a great relationship with my dad because we just didn't know each other very well. You know,
Well,
he
I
wasn't
mean, it
there.
wasn't like because he was so tired. I guess he didn't have the time
because he
to
was
be
tired.
negative either.
Yeah, it wasn't negative.
Yeah.
It was just.
Would you
and
say
he
absent?
tried, and he would, and I was not very. I was probably. I wasn't very into a lot of the things that he wanted me to be into. But he died in my freshman year in college. But my mom was great. We have a surprise sister.
Ooh, that's nice.
So she
that's
is
fun.
10 years younger than me.
Wait, are you the oldest?
No, I'm the middle one. I'm the middle child. I don't.
Okay.
How many? You said you have
Three of us.
Three? Okay.
Yeah. And
So you're the only boy, right?
yeah.
Okay.
In fact, my sister lives probably about 6 blocks from here.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in about 4 years, but she lives about 6 blocks from here.
Oh, okay.
Which is unfortunate because as we got older and as we just don't get along. It is. It's just not. It's too bad because I really do love my sisters.
Yeah.
But they are not very respectful of our relationship and our lives.
So they're still very much like Catholic, would you say?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that. In fact, one of them spent the majority of her adult life. We each have our special skills. My older one is very artistic. She still lives in Oklahoma. And she does beautiful artwork, and she works with oils and watercolors. I find watercolors nearly impossible. I've never tried to work with those because all I do is stain paper with watercolors.
Yeah.
And she worked for a church for a number of years, which was not a Catholic church. It was kind of like an evangelical church. But that's not to say that she became religious because she worked there. She worked there because it was a job.
Yeah. Money's money, honey.
Yeah. And my younger sister, she's very smart, and she did very well for herself in her career, and she's just what is it that they call Donald Trump?
Republican?
No. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where she's always right.
Narcissist?
Narcissist. She's a little bit narcissistic.
Women narcissists are scary. I mean, all of them are, but like women are like, they're very conniving. It's very like sneaky. You kind of don't see it coming.
I never thought about that, but yeah. But anyway, the two of us are fine. You know, one of the things that from those early years, one of the things that gay people tended to do, because not so much now, but back in the day, I always hate that expression because it makes it sound so much older. But back in the day,
I always think it's weird when people younger than me say it.
Yeah.
I'm 28.
yeah, I do too. I find that very weird.
I'm 28, and when I hear a 25-year-old say it, I'm like, what day? Wednesday?
But back in the day, an awfully lot of people that we knew were completely cut off from their families. Their families just threw them out.
Yeah.
And like they were yesterday's
When
trash.
they came out? When they came out?
You know, and it was cruel the way their families treated them. So typically, gay people had two families. They had their family of birth, and they had their family of choice. And we have had a wonderful, and I mean, we've got the same thing, and we've got a wonderful family of choice. You know, and the reason why that they did that was because Christmas comes along, Easter comes along and stuff, and when your family has thrown you out, that's kind of a sad time, and so other people would
Bring them in.
pull them in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it the same situation with your husband? Like when y'all got together, like it was difficult for his family. Like, does he not speak to his family really?
He has problems with a brother. He has one brother. His mother never knew. She was kind of like on the fence. You know, it's like she's gone now, but for about the first 30 years, and she came and visited, and she was a nice lady, but I know that she kept waiting for him to find the right girl. After 30 years, it's not going to happen, baby.
Yeah.
We're kind of used to each other. Our money's kind of tied up together. So,
Yeah.
Jeez. Did y'all have to go to another state to get married? Or
Massachusetts.
Did y'all went to?
As soon as, I'm no fool, as soon as it was legal in Massachusetts, which was the first state, I drug his ass up there.
Yeah, I would too.
I was tired of living in sin.
Yeah.
How long were y'all together before y'all actually got married?
29 years.
Wow. Tell that to my girlfriend. She's been bugging me about getting married.
Stop.
You want to or you don't want to?
No, I do want to. I just haven't asked her.
Yeah, it's just not on the... You need to build a bucket list.
A bucket list?
A bucket list.
Of things to do.
People seem to think that to have a bucket list, you have to be old. Mm-mm. My first entry on my bucket list was lose my virginity.
Which virginity?
Pretty solid.
See, when I was a kid, when you thought in terms of sex, it only related to
women.
Men and women.
Yeah.
Because what you might do with men was considered sin.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't consider it sex because sex was supposed to have this like healthy edge to it.
Yeah.
But are you guys Catholic? Were you raised Catholic?
Yes.
Baptized Catholic, but we never really went to church.
I'm kind of the same way. But 90% of what the Catholic Church teaches is when not to have sex. Mm-hmm. And see, I have this whole new philosophy. I consider myself now, I mean, my faith is real important to me, but I'm not like a freak about it.
Yeah.
And God and I are like this. You can't see this, but I'm crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
Audio listeners.
Audio listeners.
God and I are kind of like that, but he tells jokes, and he is a great guy. And we are all supposed to be reflections of what he is. So I know that part of him is gay.
Actually, supposedly he was.
God?
Yeah.
God's a little gay.
God was gay.
Well, he had his non-birth family too. He had those 12 dudes.
Yeah, see? I'm telling you.
But it's like my feeling about sex now, because part of that is because I'm Southern, is, somebody gives you a gift and they are important to you, you celebrate the gift.
Yeah.
You don't put it in the closet because it doesn't go with the furniture. And so I think that you're supposed to have sex.
Yeah.
And that when you have sex, you're celebrating this gift that he gave you, which to me, sex is a gift. So is my ass, by the way.
Your ass is a gift.
It's a gift from God.
I call it that. It's my husband and my ass. Those are my gifts from God.
Jeez. So, when did you first know that you were gay? Forever?
When I first knew that I was gay, and I've thought about that, and I think that I knew it when I was really young, but since I never accepted it, it's hard for me to determine, because if those kinds of ideas came into my head, I immediately flushed them out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think I wanted that. But then, I finally, when I fell in love, the pieces started coming together, and I went to 12 years of Catholic schools. Ed went to 16 years of Catholic schools.
Both of you were Catholic?
So we had a lot of indoctrination, because to me, that's what Catholic schools do. They indoctrinate you.
Yep.
Yes.
First thing they do when you're young is they indoctrinate you to become a priest or a nun. They really lean on that a little bit. And
Got to get those numbers up.
yep. And it just takes a while to get that indoctrination. You can't do it overnight. You just can't.
Well, 12 years? I mean,
You can't get it all
even-
out. But it took probably about 20 years to finally erase that. And I remember on our 10th anniversary, when we got together, we were in the military.
So he's the guy that you were fell in love with in the military?
Yeah, we were just kind of casual friends for the first couple of years, but the Air Force kept making us
work together,
or the Air Force kept shoving us together because he left Lackland, which is where we both worked. We worked different parts, but we saw each other once a month at an officers club, junior officers club council that we both sat on, appointed by our units. And he left. I had no idea where he went to. He was married, and he had a child. And he left for an assignment. I had no idea where he went to. We weren't that close, so I didn't know. And the next year was horrible for me, and so I just asked the Air Force to send me any place in the world, any tour length. And when you put in that kind of a request, you usually get really scuzzy jobs. Mm-hmm. You get because the Air Force has a lot of really bad locations. Well, I got this place in central Thailand, which is a wonderful place. I loved Thailand.
Wow.
And about a month before I went to Thailand, I got a letter from Ed, which is his name, and
Eddie,
that's where he went.
Do you call him Eddie?
Sometimes, yeah. Only me.
Oh. Okay.
Don't ever try it.
Okay. I thought we were going to be best friends, and I was going to meet him, and I was going to get to call him
we can
Eddie.
be best friends. You just can't call him Eddie.
Your fist clenched when you said that.
I know he did. He was like, "Don't call him Eddie."
But I got a letter from him, and that's where the Air Force had sent him. He was already
both
there.
In Thailand?
And so when I went over, there was an airline strike, and I got there about 3 days late, and he left the day before.
Wow.
So we missed each other by a day, but I went to work, and they gave me his job. And then I went to the housing office, and they gave me his quarters. They gave me his junk that he left behind. But everything that had been his was now mine. And it was just really weird. And I liked Asia a lot. I can rock a sarong. Sarong, flip-flops, and a T-shirt, and I used to be hot.
Whoa. Do you have pictures?
No. And you'll never know whether that's true or not.
We need to get those digitized.
Need to find those.
But Vietnam and Thailand are neighbors. Vietnam was over. Thailand had been, during the war, Thailand had been where the airplanes were all stationed that bombed Vietnam. Mm-hmm. The guys would get up, pilots would get up in the morning, they'd fly their planes over to Vietnam, they'd drop their bombs, they would come back, and then they'd be in the officers club by happy hour.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. But
so it's just a 9 to 5, but
yeah, kind of. And it was much better than being in the Army. But
being on the ground.
Yeah. But they, after Vietnam was over, which it had been for a couple of years when I was there, Vietnam started putting a lot of pressure on Thailand to get rid of all these air bases because they were places where Americans had bombed Vietnam. Mm. And so the U.S. agreed to pull almost everything out of Thailand. That threw a whole bunch of people into the assignment system all of a sudden. And I was one of the last people to get to Thailand. We had probably 6 to 10 bases in Thailand. And I was one of the last people to get to Thailand before they made this decision. And I was at one of the last bases that closed. And so by the time that my number came up to look for an assignment, I said, please keep me in Asia. I really want to stay in Asia. And they said, there isn't anything left because we've already had to assign all these other people and we put them in all the empty slots. And they started talking about Maryland and someplace else in the country. And
going from Asia to Maryland.
And I said, please keep me overseas. And they told me that there was one position in the entire world. I'm not sure that I believed them, but that's what they told me. There was one position overseas that I could go to, and it was this little base in Germany. And they said, you've got to think about it and let us know real quick because it's the only one we've got. And I said, I don't have to think about it. I'll take it. Because I want to stay overseas.
What was the reason that you wanted to stay overseas? You just wanted to explore the world more?
I was in my fleeing mood. I fled from everything that had been, I fled Oklahoma partly because of the gay thing. I had no contact with anyone that I knew in Oklahoma anymore, or
not
just
your
a couple of
sisters,
people.
your mom,
my sisters,
dad.
and my mom. Yeah, but I just kind of wanted to put that behind me because I was doing this grand plan and I was starting my new life. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't want to go back to the States yet. And I also have wanderlust. I like to travel.
I hate travel.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, it's it.
Ed and I have been on every continent except for Antarctica since then.
Oh, that's so cool.
And
So tiring.
but so I said, I'll take that. I'll take whatever you got. I'll take it. And so I left Thailand. I went back home on vacation, and while I was on vacation, I get a letter from Ed, because that's where the Air Force sent Ed.
To where?
To
This
Germany?
little base in Germany. And that's where he was now. And I got a letter from him saying that he was going to help me get situated and stuff. And I got to the base in February.
Wait. Did he know that you were in love with him?
No.
Okay.
His wife left in March. She wanted to go find herself. His wife was from a traditional Hispanic family. Mm-hmm. She didn't like being part of a traditional Hispanic family. She was
Really?
trying to find a way to get out of that.
Wow.
And
Well,
so,
back then, traditional was like,
Stay in the kitchen?
yeah.
well, and it was also, you lived in a poorest part of town.
Yeah.
So
she was fleeing too. She
was
escaping
fleeing,
too.
and Ed got married for the same reasons that most people like us got married. Mm-hmm. So anyway, she left I got there in February, she left in March. Ed and I became best friends, and I was happy with that. Mm-hmm. That was the best I could ever do. Well, anyway.
At this time, did you know that you had like stronger feelings for him, or were you just like?
I mean, if you're in love with your girlfriend,
Yep, I think I am.
if you are in love with your girlfriend, you know the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you are in love, it consumes you. I mean, if it's a deep love, it consumes you. But it was 1976, which was the bicentennial year. Mm-hmm. And so our office in July, we had this outing, which was wonderful. And we got a boat on the Rhine River, and we sailed down the river, castles going by and stuff. It was really cool. But we drank ice cold wine while we were out there. And everybody got a little snockered.
Snockered, that's a new one. I like
Love
that.
it. I'm snockered right now.
At the end of the day, the boat pulled into this little German village where we were going to wait for the buses to take us back to the base. Mm-hmm. And the guys that worked for Ed took him into a bar and started getting him beer. And I don't know if you know of a drink called Jägermeister.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, they were feeding him beer and Jägermeister. That is the only time in my entire life that I have seen Ed drunk. I mean, he was drunk.
In 40 plus years? Wow.
It's because this thing is like, sorry. This mic,
It's too close?
No, it like falls down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it starts to sag a little bit.
I understand that completely. You don't know my age, do you? Whoop.
That right there.
So you're used to it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just
That's not a limp wrist. That's a penile reenactment.
Here, just bring it up to your mouth. Try to keep it a little close.
Okay. But anyway, we got on the bus. The colonel's wife was furious with Ed because he was drunk in front of enlisted guys and he wasn't setting an example.
Yeah.
Well, she was an old lush.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and it was kind of...
What a hypocrite.
What a hypocrite. But anyway, she made him sit on the back of the bus, and I went onto the back of the bus to sit with him so that he wouldn't be alone back there. And once the bus started moving, have you ever been drinking and you're in a vehicle and it just kind of rocks along and you can't stay awake? Everybody on the bus was asleep. So I woke up and he had rolled over and his head was in my lap. And so I'd said what I'd wanted to say for 3 years. I thought he was passed out, and I told him that I loved him. Well, he wasn't passed out. And then I told you I'm a visual person. I saw myself being goose-stepped out of the Air Force. They were going to throw me out, and
Yeah, this is when gay people weren't allowed to be in the Air Force. Right?
And,
Here, let's get this just a little bit closer.
okay,
Sorry, Kerry.
and
There we go.
he was not passed out, and he opened his eyes, and he told me he loved me too.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That's fucking awesome.
This really happened.
We need to make a movie out of this.
And
Yeah, I'm picturing all of this.
Oh my god!
well, don't picture this, but that was
okay.
our consummation night.
No, let's do it.
But he likes to call it our anniversary. I call it our consummation night.
Gay people need representation in sex scenes too.
Well, I mean, I've been waiting 3 years.
Yeah. Wait. So. Okay. So.
Within 2 weeks, we had joint bank account. I'm a nester. We had joint bank account. I had an apartment for us.
Wow. So there was no hesitation. You were just like, we're doing this. Now that we've admitted it, we're fucking going
And for
all
the
in.
next 6 years, we spent 6 years living in Europe together.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Was it easier in Europe, or do you think it was easier
No.
in Europe to be together than it would have been in the States?
I don't know. I have no
Yeah.
idea. But we lived in Europe for 6 years after that.
Was it all around Europe or specifically Germany?
Germany for the first couple of years, first 2.5 years, and then the 3.5 years was in England.
That sounds awesome. This does need to be a movie. That sounds amazing.
No, in fact, I talk about, because we didn't know any other gay people. And also, when we first got together, we thought that we were just two lonely guys. We weren't gay.
Really?
We were just two lonely guys that needed...
That's how it felt?
Yeah.
Or is that just the way that you were
That's
just...
the way we justified.
Oh, okay.
Because y'all have both of the Catholic upbringings. And,
But then when the 6 years came and we kept extending our tours. Well, 6 years, we hadn't been back to the States. We hadn't met our family. Or I hadn't been back to the States. He had been back a couple of times. But, it was time.
Yeah.
And when we decided that, we also decided that we weren't going to split up. And I suggested we both get out. He has more time. I was a child groom.
What?
I was a child groom.
What do you mean the child group?
I'm 10 years younger.
Oh, okay.
But he had more time in the military, and he was close. Not terribly close, but he was within 6 years of retirement.
Was he?
Like a higher ranking?
Yeah. Was he?
No, because he started out in the Air Force as an enlisted guy. He was senior to me, but he spent 6 years as an enlisted guy before he got his commission.
Oh, okay. But you did it right away.
Yeah, I did it in
Okay.
college. I went to ROTC in college.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We did ROTC in high school.
Yeah, so
not
did
the
our
same.
son.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he at Thomas White High School.
Thomas White? You mean W.T. White?
W.T. White.
We
That's
went
our
to
high school. That's our alma mater.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we used to live on Cromwell then.
Oh my God.
Cromwell.
Cromwell by Brahms.
Oh,
Well,
for real?
Cromwell, where we lived, there's a street that subdivides from Walnut Hill to Royal.
Yes.
That's called Merrill.
Yes, Meryl.
And we would make a right turn on Merrill when we were coming off of not Mar. I'm so sorry.
It's not. It's,
It's
the
not
mic.
you. It's the mic. It just
And-
dips
Do you
down.
want to take it off of the thing? You can if you want to just hold it. If you want to.
Why don't I do that? I'm kind of used to that.
Yeah, just kind of like stand up. There you go.
Okay.
Smooth this out.
I would like that better anyway. But we lived between Merrill and
That's insane.
Royal on.
Yeah, those are our stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great place. We really liked living there.
We still like it there. Yeah, I'm in Mesquite now, but I love that place.
You don't live here? You don't live with your brother?
No.
Nope.
I'm married and have 5 children.
You have 5
I
children?
have 5 boys.
You are cute as a button.
Thank you.
How did you? I'm impressed.
Thank you. I'm 30.
You don't look that old.
People tell me I look like 16, 17.
I know about 16.
I wouldn't say that.
There you go.
They're lying to you.
Oh, okay. How about 18? Is 18?
Yeah, 18.
Okay,
I'll give you 18.
That's
Okay.
closer.
I'll give you legal.
Okay, yeah, okay, got it. That's fine. All right. Well, at 25, they were telling me I was 16, so I guess it makes sense that I have grown.
But we lived there for 6 years. When we moved to England, we had to get separate houses because we were 50 miles apart. But we still spent weekends and holidays and all of our time
Why
off
did you
together.
have to get separate houses?
Because
Different
we were at
assignments?
bases that were 50 miles apart.
Okay.
And you have to be within a certain range because of alerts and that kind of thing. But we had such a good time, and we spent so much time in London. We lucked out and had this great apartment in London, in a part of London that they wouldn't even let us walk in now because, but it was, real estate was not crazy like it is now.
Yeah.
And so it was a great time.
You were in London in what, the 70s
80?
or 80s?
70s. We left the military in early 80s, like
Damn.
81.
London in the 70s, that would have been awesome.
It was.
Did you go to a lot of like rock clubs or anything like that? Or?
No, we
Oh.
and we didn't go to gay clubs because they had, at the time, the Air Force had what was called the Office of Special Investigations.
Yeah.
Their jobs, they had 2 jobs, and we were both personnel officers, so we knew everybody in the OSI. But OSI had 2 jobs. Their primary job was rooting out spies. Their second job was rooting out gays.
It was that?
Yeah.
Damn. That's fucked up.
And so we didn't go to clubs because they would go to clubs
They would go to clubs to look to find.
to try to write. And then once
That
they,
seems like a pretty good job for a gay person to have. It's like, oh, I got to go to a club. I got to smoke
Yeah,
these
that's
gays out.
and they would, so we didn't do any, we kept to ourselves pretty much. But what we, over the years, what we found out was all of our friends, because especially in Germany, if you are an American living in Germany, although most Germans speak English, they stick together and they're very social.
Yeah.
They see each other a lot. And so we started getting invitations. They would always be for Ed and Kerry. They were never Ed +1 and Kerry +1.
Oh.
So everybody kind of knew.
Okay.
It was like an unspoken secret.
Well, was that like?
because nobody wanted to get us into trouble.
Yeah. But okay. Was it like don't ask, don't tell, or it was?
No, this was before Don't Ask, Don't
Okay.
Tell.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was like
That was
what that was like the 90s that
Yeah.
came around.
But I like to make a joke about, when we came to Dallas, it was exciting because we didn't know it. For the first time, we knew other gay people. We didn't know if there was such a thing as a gay couple, and we found out there were gay couples.
How did you find that out? Like you just went out and then you
When-
saw men together, or
No, when we moved to Dallas, the first thing that I did was called the Resource Center and said, we need a gay realtor to tell us what part of town is better for us to live in. We need a gay doctor.
What year was this by this time?
About 81.
81. Okay. So you lived through through GERD.
You mean AIDS?
Yeah, AIDS.
Yeah.
Was GERD now a derogatory term?
No,
I don't even know what
I
GERD
don't
is.
know what GERD you're talking about. The GERD that my husband has is like acid reflux.
Wasn't it like the
I've never-
gay? It was what it was called before AIDS.
I
GERD?
don't remember. I just
think it
know
was
that
GERD.
was a horrible time.
It
It
was,
was like
yeah.
living during a plague.
Yeah, it was like 82 when they found the first case, and then it wasn't until 85 when they like gave it a name.
Yeah. But I make jokes with people about, and that is true. We finally had people that we could, it may sound strange, but we had people that we could actually talk to about sex.
Right. Oh
Because
my
your
God.
because your mama never taught you how to have sex with the girl next door, did she?
No. Are you kidding?
No.
Same thing with you. You know, you just don't learn that stuff. There was no Pornhub then.
Yeah.
I do a lot of research on Pornhub. Even at my age.
So what?
So I make a joke about, you know, we talked to friends about sex and we found out we were doing it wrong. But
wait, no, in all
we took some of their ideas and they took some of our ideas.
Yeah. So, okay.
You're essentially like a pioneer on the frontier.
Yes.
You're just like,
It felt that way.
I have so many questions. Okay. You found, were you able to find like your own gay realtor and like your gay doctors and all that stuff?
Yeah, in fact, the gay realtor was the one that sold us a house on Cromwell.
Oh, okay.
Because there was that part of Dallas in the gay community, and I forget her name, but there was a realtor that specialized, a gay realtor that specialized in selling homes in that area to the gay community. Lori Land. They used her first name was Lori. I forget what her last name was, but they used to call that within the gay community. Oh, you live in Lori Land.
because it's all the houses that she sold.
Good marketing.
Yeah, that's smart.
Good marketing. And she has an alliteration thing going.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, that's where we live now. I mean, it's not a gay thing, but there is a woman who sells, we live in a condo, that sells condos in our neighborhood. And I mean, she makes a fortune because she doesn't leave our neighborhood. She only sells
That's smart.
homes that she could show that are within walking distance. What a
That's
cool.
smart.
Yeah.
Does
How
she live
cool,
in the
because-
neighborhood as well? Or
Huh?
does she live in the neighborhood as
Yeah.
well? Wow, that's so
She
smart.
used to live in our building, but she made too much money, and so she had to move to building.
Wow. Okay, so we're in 81 right now. You guys are in Dallas. You just got here.
Yeah.
You met some friends.
We actually joined a gay parents group
Okay.
because we have a son.
This is the son that your husband had with his.
Yeah, I don't have any special
Ex-wife.
sauce in that mix.
Wait, but you didn't want to have any kids? Like y'all didn't want to adopt? any?
When I was back in the day, it never even crossed my mind
To have children?
that I was going to have children like that. I thought that I was going to have children. If I had children, it would be through the normal.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
And I was bad at the woof woof. So it wasn't that likely.
Personal question: was it like ew?
No.
Okay.
And I know that a lot of gay people
Yeah.
will act like that. And I
Yeah.
don't understand that. I love women. I've always loved women. My mom and dad taught me to love art. And the bodies are beautiful. I don't care whether it's male or female. And I just felt bad four.
Oh, boy.
The
Nice.
4 times that I tried.
You were like, I'm gonna be straight.
I am an overachiever.
Third time's a charm. Maybe
Well,
one more.
I should have left it at 3, and you're right. I should have left it at 3. But I tried one more time,
Yeah.
and God paid me back because that was a near-death experience. She almost killed me
Why?
because she had these massive breasts, and I didn't know. I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't know if you had to have special skills or anything. And I admitted it. She wanted, I tried to talk her into the whole Catholic, I'm waiting till I get married.
That's a pretty good excuse.
She had been married before, which scared me, but she also had these massive breasts. And I finally told her we were laying in bed naked, side by side, holding hands, and it was very sweet. But I said, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. And this girl was a take charge kind of gal. And she rolled over on top, and all of a sudden those breasts were all over my face. And it did
That
not
sounds
matter
awesome.
which way I turned, all I got was a mouthful of breast meat. And I couldn't breathe. I
almost suffocated
finally
you.
made an air tunnel in there.
I found a pocket of air.
And
You were like, let me maneuver to the crease.
And by that time, I mean, I was almost dead. And so I'm going,
And she thinks
she
you're
thought
having
that
the
was
time of your
passion.
life. Yeah.
and she shook those shoulders and those puppies were off again. No, I knew I wasn't. That was not my sandbox. I was not getting in that sandbox again.
So after that experience, were you just like, okay, yeah,
I'm just going to be celibate.
all right.
Oh, no.
I know.
You're still trying to.
Masturbation does not match up.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But no, that was my fourth experience. My third one, I should have let that go. Can I tell you about the third one just a little bit? I'm not nasty about when I talk about this stuff.
No, we love it.
But I was so proud because by the third time I had mastered the location. I knew how to hit the target. Mm-hmm. I thought that I was doing, because again, there was no Pornhub then. I thought that at 3 or 4 minutes I was doing great.
Yeah.
And then she asked me to go down south and have a little snack.
And did you?
Yes. Like I said, I'm an overachiever, and I figured men had done that before because the guys at school talked about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, that's how I made shit up, was I listened to what they said.
Oh.
But anyway, I went down there. I tried to be very polite.
Wait, this was in the 70s when you went?
Yeah.
Oh, that was when they were like Bush.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had a gag reflex then. I don't now.
Yeah.
But I went down there and I had a little taste. I didn't want to gobble. My first time out, I had a little taste, and if it had been something I had ordered in a restaurant, I would have sent it back to the kitchen.
That's about right.
It was terrible. It was terrible. I told
Garçon.
her, she came into the bathroom and she's being all flirty and everything, and she's going, "Come on back. It's an acquired taste." And I said, my mama told me about liver, and I don't eat liver either.
Oh, my God.
But, see, if you had lived in the 70s, you would not imagine that we would be talking about this stuff now.
No.
Because they kill people for saying things like I just said.
Yeah. That's insane. Mm-hmm. So how was it like in the 80s with like the AIDS thing?
Yeah, so let's go back though.
It was pretty quiet. Oh, when we first moved to Dallas, we actually, for about 5 or 6 years, we had monthly gay parent meetings at our house where people would get resource information, because at that time judges would not give gay parents custody.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was his wife okay with it?
I assume she was not okay with it.
Okay.
When our son got married, and I hated them for doing that, but my job was to keep her entertained, because we were more, at the end of high school and later, we were more active in his life than probably his mother was.
Okay.
And so it was my job to entertain her, and I'm going, this is just wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I don't dislike her. I like her. She's a nice lady, but we have nothing except for the guy that I sleep with.
Yeah,
we have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Well, and the kid.
Yeah.
So you were in his life the whole time?
The
Most
kid's
of the
life?
times, from the time that he was about 4.
Oh,
Okay.
So that's your daddy.
Well, he never called me daddy, and that's fine. I'm not real crazy about being called daddy. I hate that, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, same.
He's the only Poppy.
Papi? No.
You don't like that? I don't either.
Papi is reserved for kids in the Hispanic
No, it's not.
home. Well,
No,
in
it's
the
not.
Hispanic.
I think that's only an us thing, because like my mom would call me like papi when I was like a little kid.
Yeah,
she still does, and then that imprinted on me. I call her nephews that too.
And I know couples that are half Hispanic.
Yeah.
Gay couples.
Uh-huh.
And
And they're like,
the
"Ooh."
non-gay
Papi.
man calls the Hispanic man Poppy.
Papi, yeah. Like, that's the way you use it.
I think that's.
You know,
yeah, and then also there's like I think it's Cubans that are like, oh yeah, papi. Like
yeah.
like
Papi is like guy, is
Yeah.
like dude.
You know, I had Okay, I know that you want to get back to that time.
No,
but
it's okay. We are always like.
Yeah, we're all over the
Okay,
place.
well,
Don't worry about it.
I go to, or I was in a show once, and there were a whole bunch of comedians, and I mean, like a lot. There were 9 guys that were in their 20s and maybe 30s, and there were 2 girls, same age group, and then there's me. And this girl comes over and she asks if she could sit next to me, and this is a 4-cushion couch, or 3-cushion couch, and there are 4 of us already sitting there, so it's really crowded. And I said, no, we don't have enough room. And she said, oh yeah, you do. And so she put one of her butt cheeks on my leg and one of her butt cheeks on the guy's leg that's next to me. And she starts calling me daddy. And I said, I don't like being called daddy. You know, call me anything, but don't call me daddy. And so she keeps calling me daddy. And finally I said, I've got a son. And that's what reminded me. I've got a son. He doesn't even call me daddy. He calls me Kerry. Why don't you try that?
Oh, dang.
Was she like drunk or was she just being
No, she wasn't drunk. And so she starts calling me daddy again. And
You should be
she
like,
starts
bitch.
rubbing on my knee. And I said, darling, unless you were hiding a dick under that skirt, you are just so wasting your time. There is no sugar on this, daddy.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
And
Did she get off?
Yes, she got up. She's never spoken to me since then. But the other guys in the room, you don't know, if you're an older guy like me, and here are these 9 young, healthy guys that are 30, probably 32, 33 or younger.
Yeah.
And there's this old dude in the room, and one of the only 2 females is hitting on the old dude in the room. That is not comfortable for the old dude.
Yeah.
But
I bet.
And when I told her that, those guys, I thought, oh no, they're going to hate it that I'm gay. Well, they didn't. They thought that was great.
Yeah. That's good, though.
Yeah. Oh, I do not like being called daddy.
Yeah, it's weird.
I love calling my husband daddy.
Do you?
Weird.
Yeah.
Well,
Daddy.
I don't. I know, and I know that on Pornhub they're always saying daddy.
Well, he's actually is a daddy, so.
Well, so is my husband, but I'm not calling him daddy.
Okay, so then, when did your son graduate high school? Because you guys got the house.
Well, he was born in 70.
Okay. So he was around 10 when you guys were
Yeah.
shopping in Cromwell for your house?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be about 87.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
When a
Yeah.
guy that was born in 70.
Somewhere around there, 87, 88.
So then did you guys get a house there to so that he could go to White, or did his mom live in that area too, and that's why he went to White?
His mom lived in Austin.
Oh.
Oh wow.
And it was weird the way that John came to live with us, or I think it's weird. His ex was dating a lot, and she was using some drugs, and John spent a lot of time by himself.
Oh no.
And when he would come to visit, which was fairly frequent, we'd buy a ticket for him to come up to Dallas. When he would come to visit, he had a good time because we spent all of our time with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would go back, and apparently one of his return trips, his mother got annoyed with him talking about what a good time he had. And she said, let me tell you about your dad and Kerry.
Oh no.
And
How
she
old was
did.
he?
Is it like 10 years old?
Well, he was probably 9th grade.
Ooh.
And that was something that Ed wanted to tell his son.
Well, that was his right.
And but he didn't. With children, you need to them early.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
But it still wasn't hurt, like, know.
He called.
That's so
He
messed
called
up.
his dad that night, and he asked if it was true, and then he asked if he could come live with us.
Really?
and I think it's because we had kind of a steady environment.
Yeah.
And he could do anything that he wanted at his mom's place. He was not going to be able to do everything that he wanted. But I think my own thought is kids want some of that.
Yeah.
They need structure and they need discipline.
I think your mic turned off.
And you don't, and when I say discipline, I'm not talking about beating them up. I'm talking about
Yeah.
Just structure,
Telling
just
no.
like organization. Yeah.
Well, like a routine.
But he wrote me a letter on Father's Day a couple of years ago that just
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sure. I wish I could read that letter. I love to cry.
But well, I don't, and I do it all the time.
Same.
I know. One of the side effects of age is apparently I carry my emotions right on my shoulder.
Really?
I cannot. You've been to Stomping Ground, right?
Yeah. I was there for the first time on Thursday.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
So you saw the contest?
Uh-huh. I was in the contest.
That's right.
Yeah.
He mentioned that you guys just missed each other that night.
But the contest Thursday night, I got advanced. Last night was the finals.
Yeah. Who won?
Kate Greathouse. Do you know her?
Kate.
We need to have her on the pod if you know her.
I don't think I know her.
I can introduce you to her. She is really funny, but in fact, one of her rants, because it was a rant thing, one of her rants was about archaeologists, that they were all old white men, and that people who had made some really strong decisions, but they weren't supported by the archaeology community, were women. You know, she's a pretty powerful liber, and she said last night she's talking about all these old white men and just going on and on about all these old white men. And out of nowhere, she goes, "I love you, Kerry." And I agree with her, actually. Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? I've been telling people for 20 years, quit voting for old white guys.
Yeah.
If you
That's
want
pretty
anything
good.
to change, you've got to get rid of us.
Yeah.
Our time is done. It's your world.
Well, yeah, that's why people say like there should be an age cutoff.
Well, I don't know that they even need that. I think people should have enough common sense.
Yeah. Like we shouldn't have to say it.
We shouldn't have to have a rule.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think,
Yeah, because I mean, Biden's been in politics since the 70s.
Well, and I voted for Biden, but what choice?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You
Yeah.
really just
And
kind of made our
Biden is
choice.
probably the only one that could have beaten him.
Yeah.
Of the
Well, we were already
Democrats.
tired of him anyway. So
But that man. But that's a whole other thing.
yeah.
I don't like talking about politics because I can't make jokes about politics because something happens in the back of my head while I'm trying to make jokes, and rage comes out.
Yeah. Well, you've also had more of a life experience with the negativity in the gay community with politics too. So
And
it's
they're
kinda
trying to
like
drag it back now.
Yes. Oh, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And I just, I think it's sad. But what my experience has been is as ugly and mean as people can get, there are always the good folks out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You look for the good folks. And as hopeless as it all seems, they're there. Sometimes they're hard to find.
Yeah. And when we find them, we got to keep them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you nurture them and you support them. And
Yeah. Have you heard of the Tennessee 3?
yes, I love that.
I love them.
I'm a newsaholic.
Me too.
The TV in my house is on MSNBC almost from morning to night.
I'm on TikTok.
Darling. That is not news. That's like people when they say, I read everything on Facebook.
Well, TikTok is very informative.
It is. It just may not always be informative. It may not be true.
True. But I mean,
I want to know I want to know my sources.
yeah. I mean, but then also that's the responsibility of the consumer to then like research. So if you're
We're
researching,
lazy consumers. Well, that's not going to happen.
well, the lazy consumers. What do you mean? You want them?
No, I mean
Oh.
our consumers will believe anything.
That's true.
The majority of them will believe anything.
That's true. I love the...
Who would drink bleach?
I mean...
But they believe...
Yeah.
Some people believe that.
Trump, the president, is supposed to be the smartest guy in the country, and he's over here talking about...
I don't know about the smartest.
Well, I mean...
The most willing
he's
to
supposed to be at
compromise
least
their morals,
intelligent.
probably.
Intelligent enough not to tell people to drink bleach.
It's got a nice taste.
You know the...
Don't drink bleach.
Oh, I would rather drink bleach than have another snack.
So what was it when you first gave like oral to a man? Was that different? Obviously.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I had an opinion one way or the other. It was just a man. You know, there is people think in terms of sexual or physical, but if you think about your husband, the attraction goes so much further than what you're doing physically.
Right.
It goes back to him.
Yeah.
I used to remember, and I used to think when we first got together, I used to think that it was kind of dirty that I did this, but I would every once in a while, for the first couple of years we were together, because we were single officers, we didn't have furniture, they would only give us 2 twin beds. So we spent our first couple of years together, sleeping together in this twin bed.
Oh, wow.
And I was happy as a clam. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did not need any more space than that. But sometimes I would wake up during the night, and I would throw the covers off of us, and I would just look at him, thinking, I can touch this anytime I want to. It's kind of like it's mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was just such an overwhelming feeling.
You weren't giving head. You were loving your husband.
I was just looking and feeling.
Yeah.
And it was an overwhelming... Now, usually I would yank on it a couple of times. And then we'd be off and running.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Hey, are you awake? Are you awake?
I know that
hilarious.
that's not a gay thing. That is a sex thing. But
Yeah.
I like to talk about the wandering hand. You know, you roll over, you're tired, you've turned off the TV, you roll over, you go to sleep, and all of a sudden this hand. Mm-hmm. You feel this hand coming across. And they're not looking for Snickers bars.
I love Snickers bars.
But we had a gay parents group at our house for years. And then the year that John graduated from high school, I got a transfer to Rhode Island, which
you
is
were
where
still in the military.
No. I was out, but my company transferred me, which was at the same time that Ed retired from the military. And that was where Ed was from, Rhode Island. And so we ended up moving from about a mile from my mother's house to a mile from his mother's house.
Oh.
We only lived there for a year. And then we came back, and I'm glad that we went there for that year. And New England's beautiful. I liked it better than Ed because Ed grew up there. He knows how cold it gets. And
Did you like the cold?
I don't mind. By that time, we had lived in Germany. We had lived in England, both of which are pretty cold places.
Yeah.
So I can live with it. It's just, no. I don't like the cold. I'm trying to justify it, but no, I don't like the cold, but I love New England.
Yeah.
I could tolerate the cold if I lived there.
I hate the cold. I hate it.
Well, this, whatever it is today, this is making me mad because yesterday I put my winter hats up.
And you need it today.
Yeah.
No, well, we had to go to the store this morning, and I'm like, what the heck?
I dressed appropriately today.
Yeah, well,
I woke up a little later though.
one of my things last night, if I had gone farther, was going to be, I don't use a B word because I think it's disrespectful to women. and they don't get enough credit now. I'm not trying to snow you, but I'm just think that they're treated horribly.
Who?
Women.
Bitches? Oh.
But I don't use the B word for women because I think it's disrespectful, except for one. There is one woman that I give the B word to, and that is Mother Nature. She is such a bitch, especially since my 50th birthday. And I was going to do a thing last night. I forgot where I was going with that, but I was going to talk about that bitch Mother Nature. And I can't remember where that was going. That's part of old age, too.
No, I lose my train of thought all the time.
But, yeah, she needs... Here, I'm going to put this... You see that string on there? That is to punish my punishment for having lost 2 phones in 2 weeks.
Are
2
you
weeks?
serious?
Oh, she loses everything too. Where's your debit card right now?
So I tie this to my belt loop.
I don't know where my debit card is right now.
If I go outside, I have to have this tied to my belt loop. I know where I was going. Mother Nature, one of the things that Mother Nature...
He fits so well into the pod because it's like,
100%, yeah.
like me 24/7.
She gave... One of the gifts that she gave me, Mother Nature, is she squeezed and tugged and did all kinds of strange things to my face, which used to be reasonably cute. I was never much more than... I was probably a solid 7, maybe a weak 8. I was never a 10.
Do you know people like they're like, I'm a Dallas 9, but I'm a California 3.
No, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They rank them by like
By state.
by state.
Or more like a New York 10 is like, or like a New York 5 is like a Dallas.
That must be a
8.
younger thing because we don't
Yeah.
like to talk about our looks anymore when we reach our age. But you know, she did all of this stuff to my face, and she didn't even use she wasn't even creative about it. She used an old mold, you know, and she turned me into Orville Redenbacher. That's not a compliment. And that's actually the reason why I always wear a bow tie and suspenders on stage.
Because he looked like Orville Redenbacher.
Yeah, and I started it at the first because I used to do a lot of Orville Redenbacher jokes, which I don't anymore, because God, he's boring. But it's my thing. It's my... It's how I market myself. I was always in sales and marketing. You brand yourself.
Yeah.
See, that is exactly what I said. We've had so many comics on, and I'm like, we had, you know, Dante?
Yes.
Okay, we had Dante on, and I was like, I've seen one of your reels, but I've never like actually like watched it through. But I said, I remember you because you have such a memorable look. Munchies too. Munchies has such a memorable look. Tony, he wears a kilt on stage. It's like you
I love
have
Tony.
to.
Tony is such a nice guy.
Tony's the best.
I love Tony. I'm mad at him though, because he didn't wear a kilt to the pod. I was like, are you serious?
Well, he doesn't wear it right, the kilt,
Oh,
because he wears underwear.
yeah,
Yep.
he told us.
He explained that to us.
Yeah.
Well, I just laid on the floor. I'm kidding. He told me.
Laid on the
You're
block.
not kidding. Oh my God.
He just lay down like, hey, this is a dress.
What are you doing with those things? Yeah. You know how I got over my fear of large breasts? Is I motorboat. I'm a certified motorboater.
What?
Because you could jump away as long as you're standing up. It's when you're lying down that you can't, you're dead.
At least for the big ones, yeah.
Yeah, the big ones are the ones that'll get you.
Oh, yeah.
The hangers.
Motorboating, it doesn't matter. Big, little, as long as you've got something to stop your head on the other side. I just won't do augmented breasts because I'm too old to recover from a concussion.
Wait, are they really that hard? Because I was thinking about getting a boob lift.
Don't do that. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. But you do what makes you happy.
Well, I don't want to do it if...
My experience has been, but then remember, a lot of the women that I knew when I was younger who were pioneers in the big breast field,
Yeah.
you know, when they first started coming out, because the other thing, some of the early breast implants that they had, they leaked.
Oh, yeah.
But in my experience, they're kind of hard. It's weird being a gay dude women are your best friends. Mm-hmm. And women are not, I would never strip down in front of a woman. Women seem to have no problem stripping down in front of me. I have seen.
That's so true.
And I have seen more titties. And I really, I don't want to go to the coochie because to me that's just too personal and private.
Yeah.
You know, and I will give respect by turning away.
Yeah.
But no, I'm amazed and sometimes embarrassed by how familiar women are with me. There was a lesbian. Do you know where Alexander's is?
Alexander's?
It's a club. It's a bar.
No.
It's on Cedar Springs. And the reason why I asked is because Tony goes there. They have an open mic. And there was this lesbian, and I have a bit about motorboating. Uh-huh. And this lesbian wanted me to motorboat her in the worst way. And she kept heckling me while I was talking about motorboating. And I finally had to shut her down, and I wasn't being insincere, but I said, unless you've got a sanitary wipe with you, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to leave spittle or lip marks on your chest. So I got to clean it up afterwards.
Right.
And then somebody pointed out, which I'd never thought about before, maybe it's not clean to start with. Ooh.
Ooh, yeah. There is such a thing as titty juice.
Well, I assume that women's chests are clean.
No.
No, they sweat.
You know how you know how your belly button has a smell if you don't.
Oh yeah, it's all.
On your boob, same thing.
Well, see,
The human body is disgusting.
When you do the motorboating, everything. I mean, you're not sucking anything in. Everything's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all that oil is stuck on your cheeks.
Well, I did. I never gave it much thought, but
Did you end up motorboating her?
Huh?
Did you end up doing it?
Not her.
Ah.
No. I did. I just happened to have handy wipes the first time I did it. So so it got me into the habit of cleaning, which women
Smart.
appreciate.
Yeah.
Who wants a bunch of spit on their chest?
Nobody. Ew.
How often are girls asking you to motorboat them?
I'm done. Probably 4 times.
Because of the bit? Because of the bit? Or
Oh,
just
yeah, I used to
Or in your
ask.
what?
For 20 years, I said, would you let me motorboat you? Because I kept wanting to try it. It sounded like a hoot to me.
It is. It's fun. It's awesome.
And it sounded like a hoot. And for 20 years, I asked, and ladies would go, oh, yeah, I'll let you do that until it came time to fess up and take the blouse off. But finally, a security guard at Home Depot
Wait, were you
let
asking?
me.
Oh, I thought you were.
And I didn't even ask her. I told her that I had been asking women for years, and she said, let's do it.
A security guard at Home Depot.
I thought you were going to say you were asking women at Home Depot, and the security guard made you
The
stop.
security guard. No. The security guard was the one. I had been doing a project, and I had been at Home Depot almost every day for a couple of months, and we had become friends.
Oh, okay.
And one day, we were talking about stuff that it was on my bucket list. Mm-hmm. Motorboating. It had been on my
That's
bucket
a
list.
solid excuse. Like, oh, it's on my bucket list.
It had been on there for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And she said, let's do it. And we did. Right there at the Home Depot.
Now that I think of Home Depot or go there, I'm going to be like, Kerry.
No, well, let me give you a little more context because it wasn't like out in the aisles.
Where was it? In the back room?
You've been at a Home Depot before, right?
Yep.
You know how they always have those little buildings, those sheds in front of the Home Depot?
Yeah.
Went into a shed?
Inside or like just
Inside
behind?
of one of those little sheds.
Oh man,
She
that's in
let
somebody.
me in there. I didn't pick it.
That's in like
She said, let's go. She said, follow me. And she went out the front door. And the next thing I know, we're in one of those.
It was
Those
just you
sheds.
and her?
Yeah.
That's in the family's backyard.
What are you? What?
What do you mean? Just who else do you think we needed?
A camera guy.
Yeah, it's only
Yeah, I thought it was like, I'm going to like.
It's not a It's just a 2-person thing.
I
And I do not have a podcast.
Oh my God. And then what happened after?
It gave me confidence at my motorboating skills. But she also, and that's nasty, but it was still a good experience, she chewed tobacco.
What?
And she got relaxed when I was in that evacuated space going like that. She got relaxed and she dripped some in my hair.
Ew.
And my hair has been this white for a very long time.
Oh my God. Ew.
It looked like a bird had shit on my head. Without the hard stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
A lady dipping.
How
That's
long ago was this?
15 years ago.
Okay.
I was gonna say, because if it was yesterday,
15 years.
image.
Yeah. 15 years. This is probably around the time I first motorboated a lady.
It's
A lady.
Not a lady.
well, they don't become not a lady just because they've
Been
allowed
motorboated.
a very handsome older gentleman to spit on their chest.
That is so funny. Was her name Tammy by any chance?
No, she was not.
Sounds like a Tammy. Sounds like a Tammy thing to do. Just chew and dib. And then
letting some random old gay white guy.
motorboat you. In the Home Depot
Remember, I
parking lot.
known her for a couple of months, so it wasn't like I was a stranger.
Okay.
Right, but a couple of months? Like
Girls,
20 minutes a day?
Yeah.
that is awesome. Shout out to Tammy. That's
Shout
her
out to
name now.
Tammy, if that's her name. That was her
No,
name.
that's not her name. Tammy is not her name. Tammy is not her name.
Her name is.
No, don't say her name. You got to go back to the Home Depot and let her know that we talked about her on the podcast.
She doesn't work there anymore, I don't think, because I saw her.
Oh, yeah, 15 years.
I saw her at a motel, doing security at a motel.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
Recently after that?
About 5 years after that.
Oh, okay. Do you have
Moving
her
on
phone
up.
number?
No,
I was going to say, maybe you could send her the link.
You made me think of something, though. For some reason, I don't know why this is, but women are comfortable asking old gay guys about oral sex for pointers.
Yeah.
I think that they think that we have magic skills, which we don't. We just know what the other person is feeling.
Yeah.
Which helps.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're your own research rat. But I was recently, Ed had surgery a year ago, back on his back.
Oh, no.
And I was at the hospital at Methodist with him. And when he went in, he had to have 2 operations. And when he went into one of them, I went outside. You get no respect in a hospital unless your ass is showing. So I hate hospitals. So I'm outside, and there is a girl that was outside. I talked to everybody that I pass, everybody. And she and I started talking. We were talking about Jesus at first. She wanted to talk about Jesus. And I asked her what she was there for, and she said her boyfriend was in surgery, and she was waiting for him to go to recovery, and she asked me, and I told her the same thing, only it's my husband. Well, she's a smart girl, so, oh, you're gay. And so she said, I want to ask you something if you won't be embarrassed. And I said, stuff doesn't matter. Well, her boyfriend is apparently fairly large, and she was having problems. And so we talked for a good 20 minutes about.
Oh, wow. What was your suggestion for her?
Well, I mean, there's a typical, you open your throat, you relax your throat.
I have a gag reflex.
I don't. And it's deep. But I told her, yeah, I hate the idea that some men they think that it's hot and sexy to make that person who's performing this kindness to them, make them gag. I think that's just nasty and hateful. And so what I closed up my conversation with was, tell your friend, your boyfriend, that because of a bad experience, it scares you when you feel a hand on the back of your head.
Yeah.
And that when you feel somebody pushing down on your head, you'll bite anything. And she said she kind of liked the gagging, which, whoa. So, okay, fine. Yeah.
To each their own.
Yep. But,
I hate gagging.
I do too. Pornhub again. I've done my research. Oh, it's just nasty.
Yeah, it's gross.
So is that where they open the mouth and they have ejaculate in there and they're going,
Ew.
I hate that. Oh, get rid of that.
Some of that
That doesn't go in there.
Swallow or spit, but do something.
They're treating them like a dog. What do you have in there? What do you have? What is that? Open your mouth.
Oh, I hate that. Ooh. Where do they get these girls? But
Not
no,
great
she
cities.
and that is not unusual. I've had several people. What I usually do, and she kind of called me out on it, but what I usually do is I tell women that they have classes at the Gay Resource Center for women, for straight women. They don't.
Oh my God.
I thought it was like the Y, like the YMCA.
And, they have people with experience that give the lessons.
Man, wouldn't that be something?
That's a thing.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a thing. Like, there's a woman that like
they don't really do that, do they? And
No, but
I was just
I think
trying
that's
to
a thing.
Kerry, you should do it.
I know.
Make money.
I would not want to do that.
Why?
Well, I can only get probably 11 inches in there.
Christ.
That's talent. I can only do like 4.
You know about
Is that talent or is
about
that-
30% of what I say is a complete lie.
Is that talent or is that practice?
Yeah. What is that? Practice.
Wait, so I did have a question though. So you met your husband in the military, and then is he the only person? Like, he's the only relationship you've been in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Him too?
Well, he was married.
No, he was married.
Well, gay.
Yeah.
What?
We're true blue. We're role models.
That's pretty cool though. Like, because for such a long time you were like, I'm straight. I'm gonna eventually find a woman.
I had a grand plan, and I was going to get married, and I was going to have children, and I was going to lead a mediocre life.
Can you get that the mic just a little bit closer?
Okay, as opposed to that, I have ended up with 47 years of living with somebody who's given me joy. I've seen the world. I never expected to have children, and now I have 5 great grandchildren. And it's just, I say it's a conflict. On the one hand, when I think of gay Kerry, I think no children. Mm-hmm. But when I think about the old grand plan, which I do not much anymore, that included children.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a conflict. But I love, John is unfortunately, he and his wife are separated right now. And I hate that because, one, they're so good for each other. And 2 is I love her. Mm-hmm. I love her. She's as nasty as I am. She told me once, she said, they lived in Indiana, and we were in Indiana visiting, and she said, I have never used, you would know what they call them, but pads. Not sanitary pads, but leak pads.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, I have never used those before until the first time I met you. And the only time I ever have to use them is when you're around.
That's so true, because I've been peeing this whole time.
And I did not, and she laughed and I laughed, and I came back to Dallas and said, what the hell is she talking about? And that was it.
Yeah.
I made her, when I made her laugh, I make her pee.
Yeah, me too. You made me pee too.
Oh, well, that is so good to know.
I should have known. I should have put on a...
Well, when I go on stage, I love laughter. I love making people laugh. I mean,
It's the best.
It is the best high that I have ever experienced, and I've experienced some highs.
Really?
But I love making people laugh to the point that sometimes if it's all belly laughs, I orgasm a little bit on stage. And that's okay, because I'll take them where I can get them at my age. But I bought these. They have continence pads for men. Well, it's kind of icky, sticky kind of thing if you really do orgasm. So I thought, continence pads, that'll work.
Wait, what? Do you?
What? No, I'm not incontinent.
No, orgasm.
No, I'm just kidding. I make that up. But I have a whole story, and so you shut me down halfway through the story.
Way to go, Adriana. Jeez.
It takes me a little more. That hell, when I masturbate, I never ever have the big finish anymore. I always fall asleep first.
That sounds nice.
So I use it as calisthenics now, so I take charge because I don't want to have one big old fat thick over muscle, and then one skinny like a bean.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like a beanstalk.
I should have brought underwear.
Ew.
Okay, you stay seated when we leave.
Yeah. I'll shake your hand.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, I shut this joke down. I never heard of that before, so. Oh, God.
But see, I love making people laugh.
Yeah, it's the best.
Know that it is nothing is better for me. I know that some people, they have different things. That is my thing.
When did you first get into comedy? Like, what was it that made you want to do it? Or did you always know you wanted to eventually do it?
I always knew that I loved comedy and I liked to make people laugh. Going back to the day again, I did not. I liked watching comedy, but I didn't like watching gay comedians. And it was because in order to be a success, if you were gay, you had to kind of sell your soul. You had to make yourself an object of ridicule.
Yeah.
Or you stuffed it and you pretended like you were straight. Those were the two kinds of gay comedians there were. There used to be a club down on Wycliffe that was called John L's. It's the first cabaret type of bar that I've ever been to before, and they used to hire good entertainment in there. And there is a guy that lives here in Dallas. His name is Paul Williams. And this is probably about 30 years ago. And he was the first gay comedian that I ever saw there was absolutely no question that he was gay, and he was not embarrassed by it. He didn't try to pretend to be anything but what he was. And I love Paul Williams. And he and I have kind of been in and out of each other's lives, but I had so much respect for him. But because of living through that time, I've never been completely comfortable with being gay. I've been as comfortable as I can, and I'm more comfortable now than I've ever been. But I was never as comfortable because, you used to get killed for it.
Yeah.
There was a guy in one of my comedy classes that I took that came over and gave me a great big bear hug, and he is a straight guy. Man, I was trying to get off of him and get him away from me because that was scary stuff when I was younger.
How old were you when that happened? Was it just?
It was within the last 4 years, which is when I went on stage.
Yeah, but like the embrace of.
Yeah, it's because if a straight guy hugged you like that and then found out that you were gay, then he could kill you.
Yeah.
And claim the gay panic defense, which would get him off.
Is that a thing? The
That
gay
was a
panic
thing.
thing?
That was a thing back
What?
then.
Yeah, everybody got.
It's
The
like
gay
a crime
panic?
of passion thing.
Well, the thing that I never understood about gay panic is, okay, you and some of your friends go downtown and you find a gay guy and you just beat the shit out of him or you kill him, and then you have to go to court or they have to arrest you But when they don't arrest you, they bring you down for questioning. And while you're down there for questioning, you say, he made a pass at me and it just scared the shit out of me and I couldn't take it, so I killed him.
So it's like crime of passion.
Would not be,
because, yeah.
They would not be booked. What didn't make sense to me about the gay panic defense is women get raped all the time.
Thank you very much.
And they are having to be, or they're having to explain what they did and why their skirt was that short and why they, and that's all bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was a crime, and the men who perpetrated those crimes used to walk away from rape as well.
Yeah.
At least they didn't kill the woman. Sometimes they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it was kind of a double-sided thing. It's just,
I had never heard that term before. I didn't know that was like gay panic.
Have you heard of a guy, what was his name? Matthew Shepard?
No.
Mm-mm.
Matthew Shepard was the first person to... Matthew Shepard was killed. Mm-hmm. He was a gay guy, and he was killed in one of the scary states, like Montana or South Dakota, North Dakota. But he was killed for being gay, and they tried to use the gay panic attack, and that was the first time that a judge said, that's bullshit.
Really? What year was that?
It was at the end of the AIDS epidemic, because he had AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That probably contributed to it as well, right?
100%. It made it worse, but it was even before then.
Yeah,
it was before then, but that probably like just exacerbated it. Of like, oh, he's going to give me AIDS because most people.
Then the guy said, not only did he make a pass, but I might have gotten AIDS.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Because that is against the law. Like if you have an STD like AIDS or HIV, and if you knowingly give it to somebody without letting them know,
and that is as it should be. I agree with that.
Oh yeah,
100%.
But that just tacks on to the potential for people to use.
That's why I have a washable body condom.
Smart. Where'd you get yours? I found mine at Ross.
The problem I have is that the arms are too long.
Just flailing around.
Yeah. Like at a windsock.
Like at a used car dealership.
I actually do a good impersonation of a windsock.
Like, what kind of comedy did you consume other than, or did you specifically try to look for gay comedians?
No. I would not say that I have always been a big stand-up fan, but I love, like, God, that makes me sound so queer. Golden Girls.
Oh my God.
Designing Women.
Well, what about, have you seen Frank and Gracie and
Yes, every episode.
I've watched it maybe 10 times. It's like my, The Office?
Yeah.
There's like
I've never watched The Office.
I've never either, but there's like a whole thing where it's like, that's people's like whole personality. That Grace and Frankie is my whole, I'm going to be a Frankie.
Yeah, I love those women.
I love them.
Women ensembles are very good. It's hard to do because there's all the macho stuff that comes up. It's hard to do a male ensemble that is as good as a woman's ensemble.
Right.
Because women can be more supportive of each other.
There's always an air of like combativeness whenever it's guys. Yeah.
But I love all of those things. I am not a clean comedian. Mm-hmm. No. I don't apologize for that and I'm not filthy. I mean, I don't use profanity.
At all? You don't curse at all?
Rare. It is so rare. And it's because to me that's too easy. And also even though I don't do clean comedy, I'm not out to offend anybody. I'm not a Don Rickles.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. And I will say things in a way like go down south and have a snack. Mm-hmm. Isn't that so much nicer than I went down and ate pussy?
It's also a little more. It's also a little more creative.
Yeah, well, I think it's funnier.
Yeah.
I just.
It is, because you don't have to be so obvious. It's like we know what the hell you're talking about.
You know what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things that I do like that. My favorite, I've kind of got this personality that I have been stripping since we moved to Dallas. And I just finished doing my last show in December. And I did that bit at Plano House of Comedy on Tuesday, and I won first place
Whoa.
in a competition. And I've moved to the next round. But, I mean, and people, what is wrong with people? Whenever I talk about being a stripper, I get off stage and people are going, are you really? Going, no. Well, it depends on who they are. Sometimes I lie.
Just have a little fun.
Yeah. It is.
You should lie all the time.
Because I am really proud of my
Ass.
sex. I'm really proud of my sex, but I've got a really hard worker, but it's no show pony.
Same.
I'll just say it up front because guys lie about their white guys more than black guys.
Yeah.
Well, black guys typically don't have to. Hispanic guys are kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But white guys have a regular ruler, a penis ruler.
It also depends on where you measure from.
Yeah.
I measure from the taint.
Ew.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. I love my taint. You got somebody with 5 o'clock shadow that rubs around in there. Oh, daddy. Oh, daddy.
Oh my god.
You didn't think I was going to turn out like this, did you?
I've seen your stand-up, so like I knew there was an air of it.
No.
I knew there was like a little bit.
No. Do you regret not like doing comedy from the jump? Like
starting off earlier.
I am of the age where regrets are too heavy. Because I've got 70 years of experience.
Yeah.
Which means that I have a lot of things that I could regret. All of us will. And I try not to dwell on things that, there are things that I know that I did, that I wish I had done differently when I was younger. But all I can do is be the best I can be today.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to dwell on that. Yeah. Do I think that I could have been big? No. I don't feel that way, and I'm glad I don't feel that way because then that would make it even more regretful.
Yeah.
But no, I try not to do that because it is easy when you get to like your grandparents' age for your grandparents to get consumed by all the things they wish they had done differently when they were younger.
Right.
And I will find myself getting in that every once in a while. And it's just a dark place for anybody to go to. And I look at, why am I looking at you more than I look at you? I guess it's because I've got to turn the chair.
Yeah, that's all. We might need to change the setup.
Because it's
because I'm the talent.
Oh.
That's and you feel it.
I'm trying to determine when you're leaking a little bit. I'm trying to see if there's an expression on your face you get.
Five kids, Kerry. Give me a break, okay? Please.
Yeah. The old pipers aren't what they used to be.
It's going to be it for this week's podcast. Make sure you tune into all our socials. Follow our Instagram. Follow our YouTube. Make sure to follow Kerry Day at... What's your handle?
My handle is Kerry Laughs.
Kerry Laughs on Instagram.
And that's Instagram, and that is YouTube. And Kerry Day on Facebook.
Kerry Day on Facebook. We'll definitely plug all your stuff. Anything you want to say, Rick, before we cut it out?
No. Do you have any shows that you know that are coming up?
I have several. Next month, I don't know the date yet, but it is going to be the semifinals for the funniest person with a day job. And I've got Gosh, I need to have a better memory. This is what happens when you're old.
If you want, you can just send it to us later,
Okay,
and
I will
we'll
send
post
it to you because I've got several things coming up.
All right,
Okay,
great.
yeah, we'll definitely promote you.
Okay.
All right, guys, that's gonna be it. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you, Kerry.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kerry.